So summary so far. So the pasuk, I'm going to summarize for you. The Alter Rebbe draws a parallel to the Anoichi Avalikecha Matan Torah, which means what happened then. So the pasuk says that Panim bePanim Diber Havai Imochem, face to face. So face means Pnimius, because as you can see, the Pnimius of a person is expressed on his face, not anywhere else in the body. So Panim el Panim means that the Pnimius of Olikos speaks and addresses and is drawn in the Pnimius of a Yid. So hence, Anoichi, that in order to have Vaya, Blikvol, should be revealed and invested, so much so in the Yid that it's a Lekecha, your personal God, Lekim Shelcha B'Pnimius, so that is through the Gil of Anoichi. So that's Matan Torah. So he says the same as also our pasuk here, that the bracha that should be lifneichem bepnimius is mikoyach anoichi. In other words, the fusion of gvul and bligvul is only possible by God alone. So anoichi allows for havaya, his infinite giloi, his infinite boundless expression should be in a pnimius of a yid. That Rebbe continues, explains the Rebbe, that this bracha, about which the pasuk is saying, they are noichi noisin lifneichem hayoyim. 1 second. So this bracha is from where? What is it? It's the Aleph of Anoichi, which is higher than Beis. This bracha is higher than Beis. Rosh Hashanah's bracha. What's the Inyan? Why Taka? Beis means bracha. So when we're talking about a bracha, which is not Beis, but Aleph, so explains that the Torah begins with a Beis, says the Medrash, because it's bracha. In fact, the Medrash rejects the letter Aleph because it stands for Arura. And even though Aleph is a wonderful letter, because it's Oisius Pella, which is higher than Beis, which Bayis is already a structure. So why doesn't Torah begin with an Aleph? The answer is Dafka, because of its loftiness. Because it's at the outset of creation, before Matan Torah, this Pella this Aleph is a way of Pella, which means wondrous and removed and concealed. When is it Nimshach, the Pella of Alikus? Matan Torah, which Taka begins with Aleph Anoichi. So Torah gives the koyach that which was concealed is revealed. So now applying it to our pasuk, so the Aleph of Anoichi, Moishe Rabbeinu was saying, is given to you today in the way of bracha, higher than the bracha of creation, Beis, which is Chachma. And Chachma is the whole source of creation. Savas Hayesh, Bereshis Bara. Doesn't bring it, but the Targum teaches Bereshis Bara b'Chuchmasa. Sorry? Yeah. So Beis is bracha, that's Shem Havaya, higher than Ishtalshalus. But the bracha of Matan Torah is Aleph. I'm sorry, that was the bracha of Bereshis is Havaya of Ishtalshalus. And the bracha of Matan Torah, which draws on the Aleph, is Shem Havaya Shalamaylim Ishtalshalus. Because what's been given is the parallel to Matan Torah. So what Havaya is revealed here, the Yudke Vavke Yav hide in Ishtalshalus. As the Sfiras HaKnuzos, as we learned at length in the Maamar of Shavuos. So far, So far, till is Gimel, we're up to. There's the parallel between our pasuk and Matan Torah saying the same thing basically. But now, before we get to, he's going to bring out that the Parshas today it's even higher than Matan Torah. He explains the Inyan of Anoichi. Now, according from the Alter Rebbe, from another Maimer, Tav Kosamach Beis, the Alter Rebbe explains why is it that sometimes the pasuk says Ani Hashem Alekecha, Asher Tzisicha Beretz Mitzrayim, for example, and sometimes Anoicha Alekecha Asher Tzisicha. So he explains the difference is that letter Chav, which is the emphasis letter. So when the word term Anoichi is used, is to emphasize the I. So a person would say Ani without a Chav, that's said in a humble way. He could say also Anoichi, I did a certain thing. He says, it could also mean that, but the difference is the emphasis. No, I'm sorry. First, he makes the point when you say Ani or Anoichi, you're taking responsibility. Finished. And that could be either. The difference is, however, that when a person says Ani, that's in a humble way and excusing himself, as it were. The questioner says, who did such a thing? And a person would say, I did it, intent here is not to assert himself. On the contrary, just to say, it was me that did it, but don't focus on me. But when the questioner is angry and says, because he's upset with what happened from his perspective, and the person wants to answer, I did it, and it's the right thing, even though you don't like it, then he's going to assert himself and he's going to employ Anoichi. It was me. And he says in the Maimim, don't you know who did it? It's me. So what are you questioning this for? And that's the difference between Ani and Anoichi. That Ani is in a way of it's what's that I'm looking for? It's downplaying the self, shiflus. That's why Ani is the same letters as the word ayin, which means nothingness. And Anoichi is on the contrary to emphasize the self. Like Shmuel, who said, not repeating the whole story there, Anoichi haraya, I am the seer, and he was punished. Hashem said, you'll see that you're not the seer. And as I told you, he could not identify who David the Melech was, who was the future king. He rejected him outright. That's not him. It must be the oldest son of Yishai. And so on. So why? Because he dared say, I'm the seer. Inappropriate self-assertion. So therefore, he concludes when Yidden went down to Mitzrayim, when Abishter went down to Mitzrayim, which is a great descent for Hashem. Ani Hashem, Ani Asher Tzisicha. Hashem is descending. Matan Torah, where it's about the Gilev of the cause height in the world. So that's Anoichi, Isnasus, Vagba, and it was with the drama, this Vrakim, and it affected trembling and fear. Now, is Gimel. Yeah, that's a summary. Now we're going to explain. This will also explain Mashama Moishe. When Moishe, the Yidden craved meat, and Moishe said to the Eibishter, Sheish meis elef ragli 600,000 feet of the people, Asher anoichi bekidbar, that I stand in their midst, and I should provide meat. This pasuk goes on to say it's never going to satisfy them. The Eibishter told them that you have to appoint the Shivim Skenim. It'll come through from you, but it'll go through the Shivim Skenim. So this explains that Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, I have to provide even their taivas, their meat. It was a descent. How do I do this? The Eibishter told him, it comes through you, but the actual Amshach will be to the Shivim Skenim. But there he said, Anoichi, daike, v'lo yomer ani. Shmuel was punished. Why is this inappropriate for Moshe? After Shmuel, and then Shmuel said, I am the Roya, the seer, and he was punished. How is this appropriate for Moshe Rabbeinu? Given Shemoshe, your honor ma'od mikol ha'odom asher al pnei Adama, he was the most humble person that testifies of any person that ever lived. When he wants to say, I'm part of Yidden, but not that I, small I, not the big I. On the contrary, here he's pointing out that I can't get down to them. Here he's emphasizing his isnasus. Biyachas the sheish meis elef ragliyom, Moishe is the nosi, and they're the feet. So to provide them for their meat need, the man is not good enough. They have to have meat. So therefore, Adanab, it's Anoichi, and how do I do this? Which conveys elevation, indeed, and assertion, because he was saying, this is beyond me. I can't do this. Again, God's answer was, you will, but taka not through you, you'll have help. Have shivim skein. That must be him. Right, so the answer is why Moshe uses Anoichi, and that's virtuous, and Shmuel uses Anoichi, and he was chastised for it, punished for it. V'hine is Dalet. We see in my Maimer, Mishnah's Tavkuf Samach Beis Anal Mavaya, so the Maimer we just quoted, with Al-Rebbe explains the difference between Anoichi and Ani. The end he says like this, Shesh Beis B'chinas Anoichi. Now comes a very good thing. This is big news. We know there's two levels of Shem Havaya. Yeah, we just said it now. There's Havaya Hayden Ishtal Shalus, which is what was Nimshach by Matan Torah, and Havaya of Ishtal Shalus, which is creation. That's the bracha of creation. Beis bracha. But two levels of in Anoichi. Yeah, says the Alter Rebbe. She is based on Anoichi. It's a big, again, a gewaltige chiddush, because Anoichi refers to the essence. So I. Ki because gam Anoichi shemoide alis nasus subchinas gilu. Even the I, which is assertion over the questioner or over the environment, is still a gilui. It's a revelation. He's relating to the situation, and he would respond, well, I did this, so then you should not question it or accept it. But it's about a relationship with something for which the I is asserted. Clear? Gilui. It's relating to something. Again, it's like as if to say you don't know who I am that you're asking. But then there's a higher level. We learned about this. There's a level of isnasus be'etzem. But the true I that I am, which the Zohar says in the words Anoichi, which not grasped at all, not in relation to anything else, not higher than. Be'etzem isnasus. It's not even a question of you don't know and I'll tell you. There's no other. It's fundamentally isnasus. This is an essential removedness that is not within the realm of revelation at all. Best we can say is beyond. Anoichi is beyond. It's beyond. Moishe Rabbeinu speaking to the Yidden here, that was going to say now, from the Alter Rebbe, and his mamshich a higher inyan that was nimshach on Matan Torah. Look what he says now. That Anoichi and bracha, I give you bracha, and it's a way of bracha. This is the higher level of Anoichi. The true I that I am, beyond all grasp. The Maila Gam Anoichi Matan Torah. High, even the Anoichi of Matan Torah, which is his galus elikus b'chinas isnasus. He is the master of the world to get the koich of Torah to bring the world to know Hashem. To go from Havaya Likinu to Havaya Chod. No, this is even higher. This Anoichi, which comes in the way of Bracha, but Pnimis, the Pneichem, is even higher than Matan Torah. Gewaltige Sache, wegen Bezeh, die Hine. The Indian is as follows: the Hidden, behold, Avshin is by Liel Shanechi. Parsha saying, even though we started off saying in the Maimon that the Anoichi of Re'eh is al derech Anoichi Shtem Matan Torah. It's similar to the Anoichi Matan Torah. That was the whole beginning of the Maimon. Still, now it's higher still because Harei Matan Torah Nema Lirak Anoichi Legam Havai Lekach. The Anoichi is filtered through Havai Lekach by Matan Torah. Vila Parsha saying the bracha is a pure Anoichi. Nemarak Anoichi v'niska klal Havai Lekach. So not Anoichi in the sense of Gilui. Even though that we are talking Giloi, because Anoichi is drawn in such a way that Havaya should be Lias Elikecha. And we said that Havaya should be Bepnimius, Lamshich Bracha, to bring the bracha, which the pasuk is speaking about here. Zalya they dibur anoichi. That's why anoichi is a nimshach called echad shem avaya. Anoichi gives the koach that the bligvol avaya should be drawn in the previous. Shedeize amshachas bracha. True, nonetheless, it doesn't. That's true. Shalachayir is tzarich beifan shanoichi, but still, the pasuk does not say avaya kecha. So on the one hand, there is bracha. But it's higher than the bracha of Matan Torah of Avaya being drawn in a pnimius. It's higher than the fusion of Gvul and Blikvul. Pure Atzimus. Pure giving me in my essential self. This is what Moishe is being mamshich. Re'ei Anoichi Noisin of Nechem Ayoim Brach. This is not a Gewalt, it's higher than Matan Torah. Remember what the whole Sefer Dvarim is verbringen. Moishe is speaking to the Yidden, saying Torah it's a long Maim Besicha. There's even L'chaim there. Pashnei Tzavim. They said L'chaim is L'chaim. There's L'chaim, there's Nigunim, Hazinub, Shira. It's Mamish the verbringen. And by the verbringen is Mamshech even more than was Nizgale by Matan Torah. Pure Anoichi. Why? Because in the Moshe Rabbeinu is the Neshama, Moshe and Atzmos. There's no Agbolis. That's the Vatut It's Megal the Etzim on Neshama. Etzim Neshama. One with Atzmos is the true Anoichi. Hide in Avai Lekech. That's the whole Vatut Tzav. Connecting a Yid with his Etzim on Neshama. Okay, let's see Asbara. A beautiful explanation coming. We'll learn it together. Understand it first prefacing. What's this bracha in this parsha that is giving? And it's coming from where? From Anoichi. So the clue is going to be starting with Pirish Rashi. What's the bracha we're talking about? So Rashi says, bracha klala hamor is bar gris and bar eval. These are the brachas of klalas and Parshas Kisavai. That was said on, right, the Yidden, on the two mountains, Hagrizim and Eval, and the Moishe and the Vim in the center, and the brachas and the klalas were given. What's the chiddush of what happened there? This was the very first thing they did when they came into Yisrael. He's instructing this is what they should do. It wasn't Moishe, it was Yeshua. It was after Moishe. It was already when they went into Yisrael. What's the chiddush? Pashtap in Nigle. Shachiddush behem hu being achdusam shal Yisrael. Here the Yidden became Yiddish verwandelt. They became one. That's when Pashat halachically shenasu arev zelazeh. Rashi Parshas Nitzav. Yidden became responsible for each other. Now, I made a thing in the square brackets. Beautiful. Halacha is one Jew can say bracha for another Jew. But you're obligated to hear shofar, how I say the bracha and you say the bracha, because we're one. Now he adds, Lo yirak birchas ha-mitzvahs, no, mele mitzvahs. You're obligated, I'm obligated, so I can fulfill your obligation. Like on birchas hanen, you want to eat an apple. I don't want to eat an apple. I'm not eating an apple. I can make the bracha and your yaitze. And he adds in brackets, the gewalt from the Rebbe, how's a person eating? And the Shem Shamayim, the highest darga lav dafka. He's eating shachayis amaychel shemeklipas noiga, he's eating the Shem taiva. So here he's eating the life force, which the apple before he ate is klipas noiga, could be elevated, could be degraded. And he's eating it the Shem taiva. That it doesn't spell it out, but it just says yored v'nichel if you saw, but our gomush klipas hatameis. This person is eating in such a way that he is pasha gishmak, he wants to eat, is enjoying the apple. Terrible thing. Sharigam oz sorich levarech al chis hamaychel. The halacha is you eat the Shem taiva, you got to make a bracha. And you can be yoitz another year who's eating the Shem taiva. No matter who, the lowest level of taiva. Why? Because this is the achtos of Yidden. You want to eat an apple, I can make a bracha for you. When did this happen? This happened by Har Grizim and Har Eval. That's when they entered into this covenant of achtos and responsibility. B'shal continues, yesh tzorech lifel etzem b'nei Yisrael as inyan achtos. In order for this kind of responsibility, first we have to be megala by Yidden their oneness. B'ofen like it's expressed in the pasuk of Aten Nitzovim, which you read before Rosh Hashanah, Kulchem, you stand all of you, Lachadim Kechad, Al Rebbe says like one. B'loshen Rabbein Azak Mitanya Perek Lamed Beis, Al Rebbe says Tanya Perek Lamed Beis, describing the Shamas Yisrael, Shekulam Asimis, they all, Asimis means they all accord, they all harmonize, they all fit. One fits with the other. There's no jagged edges.
Sync.
Huh?
Sync.
What'd you say? Sync? Yeah? Says one father to all of them, and then he adds Achim Mamash. These are Lashonis and Tanya, which are explained in the Sichos. These daggers in Achtos and Neshama deeper and deeper. The highest, the unity of Neshamas Yisrael in the one God. And as we always say, Be'etzem is one Neshama, and we're all that one Neshama. Beyond division completely. See, look at the Sichas Chelik Lamed Aleph. So we're saying, in order this out of us, the one can be Yotze, another Jew, etc. There's no limits. For that to happen, first we have to unlock and reveal the Pnimis Etzem and Neshama, we're all one. The Kivin Sham Shachas HaBracha Kan Kshuri Ima Achtus shall call Bnei Yisrael, since the bracha here in Pashas Re'eh that Moishe Rabbeinu is being mamshich. It's connected with the unity of Yidden, be'ofen shelamayim ischalkos legamre, completely beyond division. That's why this is the pure Anoichi. That's explicitly which if that would be the case, that would indicate Amshacha B'Yischalkus, to say Ishtalshalus. That would be talking about threading through the Elikus in the division of Ishtalshalus. Shemavai to say the Ishtalshalus, and Shemavai of Ishtalshalus, Elikim B'Gematria Teva, and then even more concealed, Elikim B'Gematria Teva. That's not the case. But this is pure Anoichi, Kivon, Sha'oz, Ha'isa. That would be, if it would say Avalekecha, then it would be, we talk about harmony. There'll be a unity of Yidden as there is division of the heads of your tribes to the water carriers, but not one. Harmonious, tribal, family. But not mamish one. Beyond all division. That's what's needed to reveal in order for that unity to happen. The one Jew, as he says in Allah, says a brach on behalf of the other. It's your apple. It's your mitzvah. He's saying the bracha. That's the bracha here. And therefore, here in our pasuk, which is revealing the achadim mamish, starting at the origin, at the core, revealing the core, it says Anoichi, and that's unqualified. This emphasizes and underscores here we speak about the pure eye of God and the pure eye of a Yid. The Mailim is Chalkos, they say Ishtalshalus beyond all description and division of Ishtalshalus. Shemitzadzeh Nasis Gamma Achtus. And therefore that means that we're not just harmonious as a people, but the Achtus of Bnei Yisrael, Beifin Shalamalim is Chalkos, that the unity is beyond division, which is why we're pointing out that we're living in a time today where the world looks at one Jew and sees Klal Yisrael, period. This is mamish, this achdus. They see in every Yid, no matter who, it doesn't matter who you are. They see all Klal Yisrael. Lachodim ke'echad mamish. One mamish. In brackets, now even though v'yav sham shocha b'poyel, in order that this absolute oneness be revealed, so it's got to go through the process. But still, that is irak b'derech ma'ivir. Here we're talking about hamshocha, which is ma'ivir means we've counted this many times, friends. Derech ma'ivir, literally translated passing, lebederech eslapshus, and not fusing, not investure. Kevu ba'alucha, b'dush Chassidus explained the length of Chassidus achilik shebin derech ma'ivir eslapshus. The difference between the Hamshocha of Derech Ma'ivir and Eslapshus, the difference between Chassidus is different mashal. And one mashal is a person wants to convey, a teacher is conveying a dvar seichel. Now, in order to convey this teaching to the Talmidim, there has to be an emotional connection of some kind. He has to want to. He has to want to. So there is the inyan of midas here. He's invested to degree of midas, but the midas do not in any way compromise the seichel. The seichel goes over, but if derech ma'ivir, passing through, as it were, the agency by which to connect the teacher and the talmidim is midas. That's derech ma'ivir. Derech eslapshus is when seichel creates midas. For seichel to create the midah, it has to be invested in the world of midas and produces it. And there's a word for it. It transmutes. Seichel goes through the process of chacham, bina, das, and is invested in the world of midas. We give a mashal gashmi in the previous Maimar, not as helpful, but it's just a mashal. Derech ma'ivir, derech eslapshus is a person can come from a certain culture and live in another country, and he's engaging the country and following the rules, but he doesn't change his whole culture. He's the same chassid in Russia as in America. And then B'derech Eslapshus says he adapts to the environment. He adapts or doesn't adapt to the environment. He's engaging, but he's not adapting. The second life, when he adapts, he becomes part of the culture. So here we're speaking on Noichi that's nimshach in the way of what? B'derech ma'ivir. In this Ingen, v'rei Anoichi noisen ifneichem bracha, Moishe Rabbeinu is pale, the Hamshach of Anoichi b'derech ma'ivir, which means uncompromised high, even the Matan Torah. What's the net result? The Achtus of Yidden. That's the bracha. And we're moving, concluding the paragraph. That the level of Anoichi and our pasuk of Anoichi in bracha, the pasuk doesn't say Avai Likecha. The true eye of the Eibush not related as Anoichi, as in the moshel of I did this. It's beyond I did, it's the I, beyond creative fundamentally. The Mile Gam Anechi Avayla Kachshabanter, even higher than Anechi of Matan Torah, Shingen is Galus, Elikus Bechinesis Nasos. That is Elikus Bechinesis Nasos, and therefore empowering a Jew to be able to master the world. This is beyond it. This is beyond mastering the world. This is a giloy of the etzem of the neshamas Yisrael as they are achodim, one mamish, which Moshe Rabbeinu reveals in Yidden now on the threshold of redemption, just before they go into Eretz Yisrael. This is all part of his final Fabrengen. V'yesh loymar. That's also what Moshe said. Moshe said that 600,000 feet of the people that Yidden are like the feet of Moishe, of the great spiritual body of Klal Yisrael. And he says, Anoichi b'kirboi. She'ein zerak b'chinas Anoichi Shmuel and his nasos. He's saying here that what he is invested in Yidden is not only the Anoichi, which is that lower level of Anoichi, which is beyond them, it's nasos. Elagam b'chinas Anoichi shelamaylim yischalkas lagamri. True Anoichi beyond division. Sharei I achto shal Moshe b'nei Yisrael b'oifen. Because the unity of Yidden and Moshe is in such a way, shehem b'chinas haregel shal Moshe, they're his feet. Nasim le b'chinas maki b'chinas Moshe, they're not meidig here, but the oneness is so great. This is actually also the end of Atat Tzava, that we have to bring the Shem and Zayin Zach to Moshe Rabbeinu. Mikvei Lechem, that Yidden pale and Aliyah by Moshe. Nasim le b'chinas maki b'chinas Rosh. They pale by Moshe Rabbeinu, the Ragli Ha'am, the transcendent, and then even higher the Rosh. It's dafke, it's not meidig here, but it's dafke through the Ragli Ha'am that his Anoich is revealed. In simple language, to be connected to a Yid who is a level of regal and be one, that's only possible at some level. That's the Anoichi level. And it's the Ragli Ha'am that challenge that, as it were, and bring it out in Moshe Rabbeinu. This is Achdus beyond all division. The Anoichi drawn from the highest level of Anoichi. Okay, we're going to read this tomorrow a little bit. The Rebbe says in the famous Sicha on Anosi HaKoil, the words Anosi, the whole, right? Pashas Chukas, Rashi, the Stira, who sent Malach, who sent messengers. So the Medrash says, Loi Malach sherosh hadoir kachal hadoir. That's how the Lashon is. But Rashi answers, Anosi HaKoil is from Rashi. What's he adding? So aside from the beer in Nikla in Rashi, the end the Rebbe says that sicher there, that the Rosh is like head. That's like the lower level of Anoichi. Okay, so the head governs the body in the way of his nasus. Anosi HaKoil is he gives over even these the true Nisias Anosi, even the dark of kind of the Anoichi, that too is one with Yidden. And it's here he's adding the point that it's a Yidden that bring that out in him. Just going to tell you, since we're speaking there, that Rebbe asks, when it came to Rosh Hashanah, Kechalad, it goes both ways. The Bnei Yisrael, Moshe, Misav Yisrael, and Moshe, both ways. But it comes to Anosi HaKoil, he stops it. Why not say HaKoil Anosi? What he says? Because not every generation is like has that. From his perspective, Anosi HaKoil. But Lav Dafka, the HaKoil, there's the bit on the Iskashas that they are, that the HaKoil is the Nasi. Regardless, the Nasi gives over. Okay, we're going to revisit this a little bit, just refresh our memories. We'll continue. Beautiful in the mind. Okay, today's story. Let's see, I'll laser. I don't remember exactly what.